The galaxy far, far away has enjoyed some of the biggest and most complicated extended universe stories in history, even if the movies themselves are the only canon future films will follow. You might think that just 7 movies would put a limit on the wild theories fans could create to show the Star Wars saga in a whole new light, but you would be wrong. Here are 10 Star Wars theories that change everything. Chewbacca The Rebel Spy. Think about it. If Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker hadn't stumbled onto Han Solo in the first movie, the pilot would have never joined the rebellion or become one of its top generals. What if it wasn't a coincidence? Chewbacca is actually the first person Obi-Wan talks to in the Tatooine cantina, and winds up joining the rebellion along with his pilot, the same rebellion born out of the slaughter of the Jedi that Chewbacca witnessed firsthand in Revenge of the Sith. If he knew Yoda, he could have known any number of Jedi, including Anakin Skywalker. Did Obi-Wan tell him Luke's true power and importance, and Chewie made sure Han joined the fight? We'll never know, but it's too good of a theory to ignore.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me Master.
Luke was the Emperor's true apprentice. It seems pretty stupid in hindsight that Obi-Wan hid Luke from his father by leaving him with Anakin's family on his home planet. Even if Anakin couldn't bring himself to track his children down, the Emperor definitely would have. But what if the Emperor didn't want Luke killed? He was in no hurry to die at his apprentice's hands, and even tried to recruit Luke as his new student before he died at Vader's hands. Vader wound up scarred, missing limbs, and close to death, so the Emperor keeping him close to eventually lure his more powerful son into the open makes a lot of sense.
But it appears you are to be the main course at a banquet in my honor.
The Ewoks ate the Stormtroopers. When the rebels first meet the Ewoks, it's only C-3PO who keeps the adorable creatures from cooking and eating them. Keep that in mind when you get to the original saga's finale, and the Ewoks are celebrating their victory, dancing, drinking, and playing Stormtrooper helmets like drums. But they totally just took those helmets and left the bodies in the forest, right? We're half convinced you can spot piles of chewed clean bones somewhere in the scene. But when you realize that plenty of the Stormtroopers were injured and not killed in the battle, those Ewoks become a lot less cute.
Misa propose that the Senate give immediately emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
Darth Jar Jar. Sure, it's a silly theory, but trying to make sense out of the most hated Star Wars character is understandable. How can Jar Jar Binks be so stupid yet so lucky and important all at the same time? Easy, he was working with the Sith the whole time. How else do you explain his decision to hand power of the Senate over to the future Emperor? Pure cluelessness? Nope, we see it as a secret alliance between 2 cold-hearted political operatives. And his friends never saw it coming.
I want them alive. No disintegration.
Boba Fett killed Luke's family. Every fan remembers the moment Luke returns home to find his aunt and uncle burned down to their skeletons. Their bodies literally disintegrated off the bones while their home sits in flames. But it doesn't look like anything the Stormtroopers did before or since, leading some to think that killing the family was hired out to a bounty hunter who happened to be in the area, the legendary Boba Fett. Besides making the bounty hunter's role in the saga a bit more meaningful, it also turns his exchange with Vader in Empire Strikes Back into an inside joke. They learned the hard way. Burning Skywalkers down to their skeletons is a great motivation for a nearby hero.
Please don't look at me like that.
Why not?
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Padme never loved Anakin. Sure, this one might be a bit of a reach, but you can't blame fans for trying to explain why Padme Amidala would ever fall in love with the awkward, stalker-ish Anakin Skywalker. The theory basically says that Anakin slowly used the Force to manipulate Padme into caring for him, whether on purpose or by accident. Or you could look at it another way. If Anakin was created out of the Force to bring balance, the Force may have sensed his turn to the dark side ahead of time, and got to work on making some children to fix their father's mistakes.
The Force, the Jedi, it's all true.
Han Solo is a Force user. He may not believe in the Force when he first meets the movie's star Jedi, but Han Solo sure fights like someone sensitive to it. Think about it, how many times did Han seem to escape inescapable situations, avoid death by inches, or dodge blaster fire with style? The Force Awakens showed Rey was just as good a pilot as Han before she even knew she was channeling the Force, so the same could be true for Han. And considering how important he is to the Rebel victory, the Force making sure he lived to achieve it kinda makes sense.
You will remove these restraints and leave this cell with the door open.
I will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.
Rey is a Kenobi, not a Skywalker. From the first looks at Rey in The Force Awakens, fans speculated that she was truly the daughter of Luke Skywalker, and there were plenty of hints to fuel the rumors. But one theory suggests that Rey wasn't left on a backwater planet by a Skywalker, but rather a Kenobi. Specifically, she's Obi-Wan's child. After all, it is Obi-Wan's voice that Rey hears when she touches Luke's lightsaber, and the former Jedi Master has had romances in the Clone Wars TV series. If the theory was true, it would make the Star Wars saga not just about the Skywalkers, but Anakin and Obi-Wan, two friends who became like brothers, betrayed each other, only for their grandchildren, Kylo and Rey, to finally restore the balance. Not to mention giving Luke Skywalker a version of the student becoming the master that no fan would ever forget.
Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil! From my point of view, the Jedi are evil!
The Jedi weren't the heroes. We all know the story. The Jedi are betrayed from within by the evil Sith, and the people of the galaxy suffer as a result. But that story has some problems. For starters, the Jedi Code said they weren't supposed to attack or rule over anyone, and must respect all life, even that of their enemies. Now look at the galaxy they actually lived in, attacking everywhere they felt it right, leading an army on distant battlefields, and even deciding to attack and kill a democratically appointed leader because he was the sole survivor of their ancient enemies. They may not be the villains of the Star Wars universe, but they're not the heroes either. The rebels killed trillions. There's one major problem in depicting the Empire and Emperor as purely evil, mainly that the Galactic Senate was an absolute mess, with the so-called peaceful Jedi looking to stop a coalition of planets from actually separating legally. The theory that the Emperor was actually on the right track gets even bigger too, since his use of the Force allowed him to see things that the Jedi missed. This may have included the invasion of the Yuuzhan Vong, an alien civilization that spent thousands of years reaching the Star Wars galaxy and emerging just 25 years after the Rebels won. Now let's not forget that the Rebels blew up not one, but two moon-sized superweapons, which left the galaxy undefended. While the Rebels did win the war in the end, it cost the lives of over 600 trillion sentient beings. Was the Emperor trying to fortify the galaxy to prevent such a slaughter? We'll never know, since Disney erased that bit of the story for The Force Awakens, for obvious reasons.
Oh no.
So what do you think of our list? Did we miss any of your favorite Star Wars theories? Let us know in our comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great videos like this one.